Coach, good afternoon.
Good
Hey,
afternoon, guys.
I know you always preach game by game, but with you're entering this home stretch of the Big 12, and with the teams you have in the Big 12, is this Saturday game at home against one of the few Big 12 teams struggling in West Virginia? I mean, is it a must win for you guys when it comes to the NCAA?
Well, Thomas, I think again, I don't think West Virginia is really struggling. I think they have all their guys. One of the more talented rosters in the Big 12. They got Big Edwards back now. Jesse's playing great. He's been back 3 games now. They got all their other guards back, and they have a really talented roster, really talented team, and I think for us again, we just no different than what we said all year long. Every game's a big game because it's one in front of us. We've stayed the course the entire time with that. We haven't changed one time. Before conference, in the conference play, the next game is a big game because it's the one in front of us. So, and that's the way again we've tackled this from day one that we've been here, Thomas. Nothing's ever changed in terms of being a big game for us, And I think again, there's no pressure because we asked our guys to trust the process and trust the preparation.
Joe Cook, please.
RT, I know some coaches provide data, some coaches don't talk about it. How much data pertaining to the tournament, the NCAA tournament, do you talk about with your team, projections, that type of thing? Do you give them any data, or is that something that how do you touch on it with them?
I think again, kind of like we said a while ago, I think you control what you can control. What we can control right now is being prepared for a talented West Virginia team coming in that's well coached, really good team that we have a lot of respect for, and that's what we can control right now. We can't control anything outside of that, So, we'll have a tremendous challenge tomorrow at our place, and we've got to be excited about competing in another Big 12 game.
Terry Middleton, please.
Coach, good afternoon. So I have a philosophical question, or maybe a coaching question. So you have Max Abmas, who's going to put up 16, 18, 20 points a game. Same thing with Dessou and Mitchell. These guys, they have the responsibility of leading this team. They're senior level players. They're at that level. And the responsibility that they hold to lead that team seems to have elevated their game, or has elevated their game along with their skill set. Has the other team bought into that responsibility? And what I mean by that, have you talked to the other players and say, it's your responsibility to score just maybe your average that you score through the season, or it's your responsibility to maybe, do whatever. And so here's why I'm asking that. Looking at last game, Iowa State beat Texas, but it wasn't because they were better. They just had to stop Max. We lost by 5 points, but he scored 13 when he scores normally 18. But what about everybody else? And so then I looked at everyone's averages. If everyone just was average, we would have had 79 points. Now I realize I'm talking in hypothetical and ideal situations, but I'm just kind of curious of that. Do they take hold of that responsibility they have?
That's a great question, Terry. I think the one thing I ask my guys to do on a regular basis is to be a star in their role. Every guy and every team, has roles for every individual on their team. That's just like if you looked at any NBA team, that every NBA team has stars and a couple of stars, and they have role players. And the elite of the elite, when they win a world championship, star players are going to do what they do every night. They're going to put in the books every night. That's why they're the star players. The role players have to be guys that are stars in their role, and they have to master their roles at an incredible level. And the thing that I try to do with our guys is I just try to reiterate to our guys what their roles are for us every night, and we want them to be everyday guys in terms of them bringing, what we ask them to bring to the table every single day. And again, for us, we started at the very beginning of the year, we gave guys 3 things we needed them to do. And even our guys, Max and the Sioux, they got 3 things to do. And so if all our guys, to your point, do a great job of being a star in their role in terms of the 3 things we ask them to do, I think we can be as good as we want to be still and still have a very high ceiling for this team.
Noah Gross, go ahead, please.
Hey, Coach, you talked about the difficulties of the Big 12, best conference in the country, things like that. How much do you work on the mental side of it with the team as far as getting them ready to go every week and kind of getting them ready to go every game, especially when you have 2 games a week?
Well, I mean, when you go through the gauntlet that we just went through with the 6 games and now you're staring down the barrel of another talented team in West Virginia, I think, again, I've said to our guys, I think it's really important. Like, if we had to go play back-to-back, we're capable of playing back-to-back games from a physical standpoint. But I do think it's important that we recharge and we hit the reset button from a mental aspect as well, because this time of year, the psychic of an individual, the psychic of your team is really important. And I think it's important that you address that and how you deal with that and manage that. We can be physically fatigued after a game, but we can also be mentally fatigued as well. So I think you coach to that. I think you teach to that. And I think you address that with your guys. And a lot of times, how do you overcome mental fatigue? You got to get rest. You got to sleep. You got to get away from it for a little bit, and have some balance. And I've asked my guys to do that, and I asked our team to do that when they have time off and time away from, us playing during the week.
Corey Mose, please.
Thank you for joining us, Coach. Really appreciate your time. I just wanted to talk about this upcoming matchup. Last time you're going against West Virginia, team didn't play well, if we're being honest. Over 20 turnovers, less than 10 assists, put them on the free throw line over 40 times. But how much encouragement is that to know that y'all are still in the game late in that game, knowing the way y'all played, going into this matchup now at home? How much does that kind of give some positivity when you look back at the tape and you saw, man, we really played bad, but man, we were still in it at the end?
Yeah, again, I've alluded to the fact that this is a very talented team, in West Virginia. They've got guys that they can score at every position, and now they've got Jesse Edwards in the fold right now in terms of, the preseason All Big 12 selection. And to your point, we had one of our not so great games of the year. When we played up there, we had 22 turnovers. They shot 41 free throws. They had 10 offensive rebounds, which led to, I believe it was 10 second chance points and 15 points from those guys off of turnovers, points off turnovers. So, can we play better in terms of executing offensively and defensively? We can. They played really well that day. They shot the ball really well that day, and they made their free throws. Always said our guys, as well, being at home is not enough. You have to come and outcompete a team for 40 minutes on your home court. Whether you're home or away, you have to outcompete the other team in that 40 minutes in this league and stuff. So, we're excited about the challenge. We're excited about another opportunity. Again, well-coached team, talented team. And, they're rested. They haven't played all week. So we know that they're going to come in fresh and they're going to be ready to play. And we're going to have to be ready to play at a very high level.
Follow up to Thomas Jones.
Yeah, real quick, kind of going off what Corey was talking about with those free throw attempts. Was that something West Virginia was doing offensively to get to the line? Or, Coach, did you see it more what you guys were not doing defensively? And how did you address that with the guys this week?
Well, I mean, that was at a juncture of the season, I think, where we were still fouling too much. We asked our guys to play really hard on defense, but we got to play without fouling and putting teams on the foul line. We go in there every game really trying to limit, other teams, attempts at the line. We really want to try to have 15 or less if possible. In a perfect world, we love to have 15 or less free throw attempts by the opposing team, and then we love to have 20 or more ourselves in terms of putting pressure on the basket and get to the foul line ourselves. So, in that game, we definitely fouled a lot, and there were a lot of fouls being called in that game, and resulted in those guys going to the foul line X amount of times. But I think we've gotten better with that over the course of Big 12 play, not fouling and bailing guys out on shots that they have no chance of making and putting them on the foul line. I think we've improved in that area, and it's still work in progress.
Have about 3 to 4 more minutes remaining. Joe Cook, please.
With Max and with Dylan and their skill sets, you run a lot of pick and roll with them, and they've been pretty good at doing it. But what are some ways where maybe they could improve in running pick and rolls that have been pretty key to your offense?
Yeah, I mean, we're a heavy pick and roll team, no question about that. And but again, I think you try to play, you try to get some transition baskets. We need some transition baskets as well, so you're not having to play a lot of 5-on-5 in a perfect world, But when you are, in your flow offense and you're having to play out of your pick and roll, a lot of guys want to play pick and roll basketball because pick and roll basketball is at the next level. That's 90% of NBA and professional basketball. So we have to try to play a style of play that's, conducive enough for us to be able to win in the league that we're in, be able to attract the kind of players that we want to attract and want to come and play here and want to see themselves playing at the next level in pick and roll. So, our guys have been pretty effective with their reach. We've gotten better throughout the course of the year in terms of how teams are playing us, whether they're playing us with a hard hedge, whether they're trapping us, whether they're switching, whether they're in a drop coverage. I think our guys have done a great job of really, working and reading the different coverages and getting better. I think our post guys have gotten better, and recognizing what we have to do in attacking the different defenses that come our way. And I think our ball handlers have gotten better reading the coverages as well.
Corey Mose, please.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to know your opinion about just the challenge of having a team where it's was based around Max and Dessou offensively, right? But when one of those guys isn't on, what is that challenge of trying to figure out who is going to step up on offense when one of them may be having an off night?
I think you still got to try to play fast and get some easy baskets. I mean, that's the one, caveat that you want to try to have. Again, anytime, the hardest thing to do in any organized basketball at any level is to come down every possession and play against the defenses that we're playing against 5-on-5 every night and have to execute at a very high level. But you're going to play some teams that are overly aggressive at times. We went into the last game against a really good Iowa State team that really guards hard in the half court, and we knew it was going to be a big cutting game for us. There were going to be opportunities for us to cut, move, not stand around, get the ball movement, player movement, ball movement, and share that basketball. Have a 0.5 mentality where that ball's in your hand and it's not sticking. And there've been times that we've been really good at that, and when we've had 18 or more assists in games, where that ball's moving and guys are sharing the basketball. So I think the thing we try to do is we try to move the ball side to side, and we try to attack on our terms and get other guys involved and have guys have other opportunities as well. We had great looks in the Iowa State game. I mean, if you go back and you watch the first half of that game, we had 19 points in the first half, but we had great looks. We just didn't make some shots, and that's going to happen. From night to night, you don't know how well you're going to shoot the basketball. But I think the one thing we fell in the rut of in the last contest was, we let it affect our defense. When we weren't making open shots, we didn't go down and guard at the level that we've been accustomed to guarding over the last few games. We've been really good defensively guarding the basketball, but we really let it affect us. The energy and activity that we played with, we let it affect us that we weren't scoring. Because when we score, we have a different kind of level of energy on defense as well. So we kind of fell in that rut a little bit in the first half, and we had to dig ourselves out of the hole in the second half because of that.
Terry Middleton, please.
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious. You talked about the 3 things you have each player in the beginning of the season. What is Kendall Weaver's? What were those 3 for Kendall? Because, he comes in, and I wrote this last game and in many games, he has this switch that he flips. It's like he goes in the phone booth and comes out with a cape on. What are his 3? And he's electric when he comes out there.
Yeah, at the start of the year, the three things we asked Kendall to try to master, because I always think you have to try to master those three things before we're able to add or expand on your game in terms of what you bring to the table, whether it be on offense and defense. But his were really simple. Come in the game, he's an elite crasher. And a crasher guy is a guy that when the shot goes up, go rebound that ball. We knew that coming in, that he was a guy that could really, get some offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities. So every time a shot's taken, you're crashing the glass. Secondly, we thought that he could be a really, really good defender for us. So we needed him to really have a defensive mindset, want to come in and guard the opposing team's best player, And the third thing was to come in and have incredible energy on both ends of the floor and, make simple plays on offense. Keep it simple, and, from that, I think he's done a pretty good job of being starting his role and doing those things for us. His role expanded, and we asked him to be a guy that could drive the ball for us, drive the basketball, second side drive. That ball's been on one side, it gets to the other side. We want you to drive that basketball and put pressure on the basket because you're an athletic finisher. That ball comes to you, you're on the wing or you're on the baseline and you're wide open. You got to be able to be shot ready to make that shot, and everything. So those are things, having been a star in his role and mastered some of the things we asked him to do already. Now we're talking about expanding his role and doing other things because he's on the floor for a longer period of time. So that's again, he's a perfect example. And I could have probably used an example of Dessou a year ago. We asked him three simple things and he mastered those three simple things. And by the end of the year, we were asked him to be a focal point of our offense, and stuff. So, even though we don't ask those guys to do that early for us, they're still working on their game every day. So when it's time for them to be in the position to say, hey, now we need to make open shots, Kendall is there. He's in there putting shots up every day, and everything. Now it's important now. Hey, we want to expand on that, and we want to give you an opportunity to be able to do those in games. And the same thing with driving the basketball as well.
Last one, Josh Newman. Welcome to the beat. I was hoping you might be able to pop your camera on, and I think you might have had your hand raised before. If you don't mind asking Rodney your last question today, thank you.
Yes, sir. Rodney, how are you?
Good, Josh. How you doing?
Doing well. 1-4 at home in Big 12 play. Is there something big picture that you can pinpoint? Something that can be fixed in that relation?
Well, I think we've been a pretty good home team prior to the losses we've had, this year. I mean, last year we had one loss to K-State. We start this year and we have a couple of tough losses at home. Central Florida, we're up 16. We're playing well. We don't close the game out. Houston, we play one of the top teams in the country, top 5 team in the country, and we have an opportunity, possession game. Iowa State, top 15 team in the country, another possession game, and one where we didn't get off to a great start in terms of first half, but we competed and battled back to put ourselves in position to have a chance to win the game. We had games last year now as well. You go back to TCU, we're down 18 points at home. We're down 12 points at Texas Tech at home a year ago, and we were able to wheel our way back to winning those games as well. And, we're in similar type games there, this year. Texas Tech game was probably one of those games at home where, again, we didn't play particularly well from start to finish. Didn't have the kind of energy we needed to have in that game, but giving them credit, they played well. But I think, again, and I always go back to it, in this league, it doesn't matter if you're at home or if you're on the road, you got to bring your A game and you got to bring it for 40 minutes. And, it's what we have to do every single game. It's what we try to prepare our guys to be able to do. And we know, and we said it many times a year ago, in the best league in the country, being at home is not enough. We're going to have a great crowd. We're going to have incredible energy in the building, but you're going to have to outcompete the other team for 40 minutes. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to play hard. You got to execute, and you got to do all the little things it takes for you to get it done in 40 minutes, at home.
Thanks, Rodney.
Thanks all. Appreciate everybody's time today. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Coach.
Thanks, guys.